the past few years, I've been getting more and more into anime. But one anime in particular that I have never seen is Bleach. Instead of watching the show like, I don't know, a normal person, I decided to see if I could predict the entire plot after watching just one episode. And to see if my predictions were right, I called up my good friend Dukaja, who has seen the entire show, and asked him to grade me on my performance. This is how it went. So what happens in the first episode? Well, it begins with this mysterious shot of all of these ghosts and ghouls emerging from this dark and scary sky. We then pan over to Rukia, who I assume is going to be like a main character in this story, and then some text overlays on the screen talking about the fate of the sword, and we're kinda on our way. This opening scene actually set up a lot of the theories that I had going forward, but we'll talk about that later. We're then introduced to Ichigo, who is standing up valiantly to this group of bullies who knocked over this little tiny cute little flower. After beating the shit out of them, we learn that he can see ghosts, and this little flower belonged to this little dead girl on the corner of the street. She'll come up later. Next up, we meet his dad, who is extremely flexible for his age, and the rest of his family, whom I only remember the name of one of them, barely. We get a little info dump that his dad lost his wife, and this is the reason he acts like a fucking child. The rest of the kids can also see ghosts, and there's a creepy old ghost man hiding in their kitchen. Great. The next day, Ichigo and his heart of gold decide to go pay a visit to that little dead girl on the corner. We find out there's been a rain check because she is being chased around the city by a giant ghost worm, and Rukia has to come through and save the day. Yeah, fuck that bitch up. Yeah. Fast forward to later in that night, where Rukia unexpectedly takes a visit into Ichigo's room, and we find out that she's something called a Soul Reaper. Ichigo, like, isn't supposed to be able to see her, but, like, he's the main character. She puts him into some sort of magical headlock and proceeds to help that creepy old man that you remember was living in their kitchen proceed on to the next life. There's a short exchange here where the creepy old ghost man begs not to be sent to the netherworld, and Rukia's like, oh, no, don't worry, you're not gonna go there. So I'm gonna take that as the netherworld is gonna be a big part of this story. Smash cut to another ghost chasing the little girl again, but this time he decides to give up because he wants a tastier snack. Of course, this tastier snack happens to be Ichigo's sister. What is this little girl connection? Okay, skipping over that. Ichigo then drops the hint on the viewer that he's some sort of a super powerful main character by breaking out of the magical headlock that Rukia put him in, and then he decides to take on this pedophilic giant ghost monster. Of course, he fucking fails, and Rukia has to come save his ass, but then she fails and has to stab him with the sword to unlock his magical Soul Reaper powers, which he's bestowed this massive fucking sword, and I can only anticipate a massive cock to go along with it, and slashes this ghost motherfucker up. And that's it for the first episode. There's a lot that I grabbed upon here to form a massive cohesive theory to explain the rest of the show, but I'll let my conversation with Duck handle that matter. Duck, you've seen all of Bleach, correct?
I've read all of Bleach.
You read it?
Yeah, with my eyes.
I have massive respect for that, actually.
Not a lot of people actually can read quite like me.
I need to get a few prerequisites out of the way.
Okay.
I've only watched one episode of the show, and I just watched it 2 hours ago.
Okay.
I've been hard at work like, you've ever seen that picture of Charlie Day with all the red lines and shit? That's me.
Board.
I know a very limited pool of things that happen later in the show. I know there is something called a bankai. Sorry. Bonkai! I think it's a sword. That's gonna come later in my theory. The second thing I know is the newest arc is being animated now, and it's called the 1,000-Year Blood War, something like that. So I know there's a war happening.
Okay.
Oh, and I know that one girl is like super hot, and a bunch of people chose to spend an hour with fucking Goku instead of her. You absolute fucking morons.
I'm interested to hear your theories off of the first one itself.
I wrote it down, pen and paper. There's a character named Ichigo. There's a girl named Zuzu, I think. That's his sister. I think that's it.
She's already so good.
That's not her name? I thought that was her name.
No, you're doing great. Hey,
the character's name is Goku. That's not the same show. Anyways, there is another girl whose name is Ruika. Rukia? Mm-hmm. Anyways, I don't know how the fuck the power system works.
Okay.
All I know is that Ichigo was magically handcuffed in the first episode, and that swords are like their choice of weaponry.
Okay.
Just would like to let these people know that guns exist.
But do your guns have Bankai?
No, there is not a gun named Bankai, but there is a gun named the Barrett 50 cal, and I think it would do a lot more damage than a sword. So one of the first scenes in the show that showcases the beginning of what I believe to be a prophecy being untold before us. It is a bunch of ghosts named Hollows that are really fucking big, crashing down from the sky. And then it pans over to Ruka, Root Beer. She's gonna be integral to this story. But let's focus in a little bit more on this prophecy. I believe that these Hollows are being summoned from the netherworld. It's mentioned briefly. Why are you laughing?
You mean like the nether in Minecraft?
It's called the netherworld. I swear to fucking God they said that in the show. Do not fuck with me right now.
Ichigo have an arc where he just like puts obsidian down.
Ichigo just fighting all the wither skeletons. This prophecy foretold is of a warrior wielding the Bankai, the sword that will take down the evil that is running amok in this world. The evil's off the goddamn chain.
Willy, I'm sorry. Is it Bankai or Bankai?
Bankai.
There
Bankai.
Let's roll with that.
Who is this warrior? Who could possibly kill the Ender Dragon? This will be Ichigo. The Soul Reaper energy BDE is opened by... Can you just tell me how to pronounce her name? Is it Ruka?
I kind of like you not knowing. It's
Fuck
funny.
you. God damn it. All right, whatever. She unleashes this power within him, and she's like sitting there. She's like, his fucking cock is so big, aka his sword.
That's true.
But I think he's got a long way to go. Let's take a step back from this prophecy for 1 second. Anytime I see pictures of the show, it's kind of the darkest of the big three, I think, dealing with ghosts, ghouls, hobgoblins.
Hobgoblins.
Because of this, I think the story obviously has to take a dark turn. So I think that the Hollows are being created by some sort of dark jutsu, okay? I think some dark magician is creating these Hollows from the dead people that go to, I'm gonna say it again, I swear to God if you laugh, the netherworld, because it was said in the fucking first episode, I swear to God.
You said
it was
the
said in
the first episode?
I swear to God they did. They never mentioned that. I'm about to pull this up. Right here! It's literally right here!
Let me see it.
You're telling me this isn't a thing? Suck my dick. I don't think you've seen the show. Okay, regardless, that was totally a really small part of my theory and not integral to the entire story.
You said I'm grading you, so I'm trying to be punctual.
Anyways, so these people that are coming from hell.
You're doing great, Willy.
These bad people are going to the netherworld. They're being sent there by the Soul Reapers, and this dark magician is mutating them and causing them to become these soul-hungry ghosts. And do you know why he's sending them back to the world, Doug?
Why are you sending them back to the world, Willy?
He's sending them back to the world because they feed on souls. And that power from the souls gets sucked back into this dark magician, and he becomes an all-powerful communist being, okay?
Communist being?
Yes.
So to this point, we're mixing a bunch of anime, and we also have communism now.
Yeah, and Minecraft. So let's go back to Ichigo and the Soul Reapers for a second. He creates kind of a bigger gang of these Soul Reapers. I think there's about 7 of them.
So there's 7 Soul Reapers he becomes friends with?
Yes, the 7 Soul Reapers. I believe that they are survivors of the old Soul Reapers from, get this, the Soul Society. And I believe,
big word.
And I believe these new people, because Eureka said that she's been around for like 100 years or something, that these are ancestors of the original Soul Society. What's that thing in Batman? The Court of Owls? That's it. That's what the Soul Society is. The Court of Owls, basically. This is like the good guy organization. And the prophecy of Ichigo coming back and wielding the Bankai, Bankai, is to be a protector when their court or their society is endangered. And do you know who's endangering the society? That powerful dark jutsu magician that's sucking the souls out of... I don't know. You want me to make up a name? Jotaro Kujo. Okay, so Jotaro Kujo is the bad guy in the story now. Jeff Bezos, that would have been another good one.
You're exceeding my expectations so much further than what I ever expected.
Well,
so,
I'll let you know that I did go to MIT for story writing and specifically manga writing, so I know a little bit of a thing or two here. So let's move on to something that I think you're gonna like.
Okay.
All of these battle shonen mangas that go for a reasonable long time, they all have a group like the Akatsuki. They all have them. And Jotaro Kujo, the dark magician, is leading them. Think of him like Crollo, and then the rest of them are the Phantom Troop.
Okay.
And their goal, they want to control the Hollows and take over the world. But do you know what stands in their way? The Dark Magician read the prophecy, and he knows that Ichigo is coming. Ichigo is coming.
That's done. Here's my only question to this point: is like, who made this prophecy?
You ever seen Harry Potter?
Yeah.
You know the Ministry of Secrets.
Oh, yeah.
It came from there.
Just so I make sure I'm following you, I'm pretty close to following you. So you're saying Jotaro Kujo is the leader of this organization who got the prophecy ahead of time, knowing that Ichigo was going to come, but the prophecy came from the dark arts, secret, whatever, in Harry Potter.
Yeah, it came from the Ministry of Magic, yeah. It wasn't named that the dude was going to be named Ichigo. It could be anybody. He was chosen because he's got an absolute heart of gold. They originally tried to defeat Ichigo because they knew his power was dormant inside of him, so they used the original Hollows to come kind of get after him. This failed because Eureka awakened that power in them, and now they're like, oh shit, let's fucking lock in. I got a paper due at midnight. I really got to focus on creating this army and to defeat him instead of going for these low blows, you know what I'm saying? This is where I think the show kind of takes an Avatar kind of bend.
Avatar?
Yeah, not the movie, not the James Cameron movie.
This came out way before Avatar.
I think it inspired Avatar is what I'm going to say. Ichigo, he needs to meet all of these people that eventually become part of his crew and learn from them because he is the prophet. He is the main guy. He's got to learn how to kind of build his power up, become the one, become that guy.
Right. Training arc.
So, what really happens? What is the ending of Bleach?
This will actually ultimately affect your grade pretty heavily, so if you could get this as precise as possible for me.
I can definitely do that for you. The 1,000-year blood arc war of the lifetime, the Great Wizard War. Okay?
Keep spitting.
I've kind of alluded to that there's this secret court of Akatsuki's trying to murder Ichigo and create an army to take over the world, right? Ichigo is creating this army in the background. This small army of 7 people that you see in all of the trailers.
Are those 7 that you see in the trailers?
It is a placeholder number. Cut me some fucking
7.
slack. Before the anime took a break, Ichigo became so powerful that it is time to challenge this dark magician. There's this massive battle happening. He's fucking this bitch up. The dark magician says, oh shit, I'm gonna lose. Dude is way more powerful. Presses a button, okay? A metaphorical button. Okay? It doesn't have to be an actual button. It's just like he flipped the switch.
It felt like it was an importantly real thing.
It's a metaphorical button. So he switches this flip and he's like, it's time to start the fucking 1,000-year blood war.
Launch the attack titan.
And Ichigo looks around him in this barren wasteland.
Don't do it. I know what you're gonna say.
And he goes, is this the 1,000-year blood war upon us? And all the hollows, all these massive fucking hollows start dropping from the fucking ceiling. You know that scene in Attack on Titan where Levi is like coming out of the forest fucking slashing everybody trying to chase Zeke? That's what's happening to him. He's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Boom, boom. He gets out and they go, we need to fucking prep. And we need to fight. And that's where I think Bleach is left off right now.
Okay, Willy, well...
Tell me how I did.
There's one thing that you did forget. It's the part where, you know how you mentioned the Dark Magician saying, launch the 1,000-year blood war. Ichigo does back. He goes, no. I am the Bleach. And then that's where his theme song comes back in. Out of 10.
Is it a 10?
There's a lot of things it's out of.
Is it at least a 9?
I'm going to be honest with you. I drew a representation right here.
Okay, I can't see it.
No, it's okay. It's a representation of how I feel like you described the hollows, and also how I feel like just a depiction of how you look in this moment being so smart, and also your final score down here.
Give me the breakdown. What did I get right? What did I get wrong?
You have a general gist as to some things, but I think your overarching narrative is completely wrong. This idea about a prophecy, the whole thing about the dark magician is totally wrong. That was one of the worst things that I've ever heard in my life. That was actually so far from what was correct that it actually pained me a little bit.
I think I forgot some of the story and tried to replace it with the things that you said.
Let me go back to the beginning. Her name is Rukia.
That's what I said, right?
It was close. You didn't even say the sister's name right.
Zuzu?
It's Yuzu.
Zaza?
The qualities of Ichigo that you assign to him are completely true. The heart of gold, the really powerful character who continues to scale ridiculously.
Prophecy.
But the things the
prophet.
No, the prophecy, that's not real. There's no prophet.
Okay.
It's literally just people and dead people fighting. That's the whole story.
Oh.
The whole thing.
That's it?
You got Ichigo's dad perfect. That's exactly his dad. He's just a big man child.
He seems like a kind of a worthless character. It's kind of like a crutch for like Ichigo to like, you know, fucking...
Yeah, he's totally useless. Totally nothing relevant. I'm gonna be real. You got like the majority of everything wrong. I'm gonna swap out your netherworld for Soul Society because that's the name of it. It's really important. You guessed that. There is Soul Society, which is not the physical world. It's just like this other place where Soul Reapers live. And then there's Waco Mundo, which is a place where Arenkars are. are, which you know what those are.
I feel like I've heard that.
In a way, the Dark Magician does exist, but he's in no way a Dark Magician. He is a lot closer to home than you know.
Is it kind of like a Sasuke kind of thing where it's like a backstab?
Yes. Ichigo using a Bankai, that's correct.
That's a sword, right?
An elevated form of using the sword.
It's like a sword style.
Bankai is only achievable through captains.
So he's not the only person that can Bankai?
No, there's many Bankai.
Oh, kind of got lame.
What, it's not cool anymore because it got more than one Bankai?
No, I don't like that. That's like everyone going Super Saiyan like Goku. I don't know if Ichigo is that guy anymore. Is there a group like the Akatsuki?
There are bad guys like that. We would call them the Espadas.
Hey!
Don't cheer too much, man. You still failed. You literally only got like the most generic line about Ichigo right, that he has a heart of gold. So if I were actually scoring you out of 100, you might get like a 10.
A 10 out of 100? Bro, honestly, I thought you were gonna give me a 2.
There's like interpretive
No, I'm taking that. No, stop,
Okay.
stop. Actually, he's pretty accurate with the Dark Magician and the suction. The Prophet is kind of true, I will say. Duck, did you even fucking read this shit?
Wait.
Who am I bringing on my show? Willy predicting the 1,000-year blood war? That's literally what my entire prophecy was about.
Here's the thing. The 1,000-year blood arc might have prophecy, but I am 4 episodes in.
So I'm right.
The people that are saying that are saying it from a manga finish the entire thing standpoint.
That's great. So I'm right. So I guess the fucking ending.
You know what? I'll give you a 50 out of 100.
I gotta do a victory lap. Give me one sec. Hey.